Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Jill of All Trade and Master of None. Today we're going to be making a homemade apple pie. And we're going to start with the pie crust. I've used a pound of Tender Flake shortening, put 5.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Now I'm going to blend it together with two knives because I don't have a pastry one to cut it in with. And what you want to do is just cut it in. Here's the hunks of shortening in here. I'm going to slowly cut it in with two knives because you don't want to touch it with your hands because you don't want to make your shortening hot. Because it's the little bubbles in your crust that pop in the oven, and that's what gives you a flaky crust. So I'm going to keep cutting it in, and before I add the wet ingredients, I'm going to show you what it should look like. It should be kind of crumbly like oatmeal. But it does give you the directions on the back of the box. I'm going to show you how to put it all together and how to roll it out and how to make your apples. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this together. Okay, I kind of wanted you to get an idea what it's starting to look like. I've been doing this for like 10 minutes. It takes about 15-20 minutes to cut this in pretty good. And you see how it's starting to change the way it looks. Okay, I'm going to continue on and I'll show you. There is wet ingredients that go in. It's 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, put it in a bowl, and 1 cup of water. And we're gonna mix it up pretty good before we add it in here. Mix it in a bowl, and then we'll add it slowly until it makes a dough because you probably won't need all the wet ingredients. Okay, I've got it blended in pretty good. Make sure you check underneath and make sure you haven't missed any of the flour around the edge of your bowl. But do you see how crumbly it is? Do you see how it's cut in? I'm going to mix up my egg, my water, and my 1 tablespoon of vinegar. I'm not going to mix it above it, because if I spill in there, I'm going to be angry about it. But you don't mix it a lot, just mix it a bit. So I'm slowly going to incorporate it in here, make myself a little well, because you don't want to add too much of this mixture, and I'm not sure it'll take the whole mixture to make it. So I'm going to add it in slowly, just till it turns to a dough that'll stick. Okay, add a little bit more. Stir it up a bit, and you don't ever want to touch this with your hands, because the whole thing is you don't want to get the lard hot or the shortening hot, because then you won't have the little balls of lard in there that pop in the oven while you're baking your crust and make it flaky. So it's just about there. And no one measures exactly, that's why you have to put it in slowly and see until it forms into a nice dough. So add a little bit more. See how it sets then. Okay, it's looking pretty good, pretty sticky and tacky. And then I'm going to set it in the fridge for at least 20 minutes and let it get the shortening to get very cold again before we work with it. But I'm going to cover it with a damp tea towel, just a light tea towel and damp, because you don't want it to dry out in your fridge. Okay, it's starting to form pretty good. And add a little bit more to it and see. It's a little bit dry yet underneath. So, there we go. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Yes, it's messy. Whenever you're working with flour, it's messy. That's okay. Just use a dry cloth and sweep it all in the garbage, all the stuff on your table. Don't use a wet one because it makes into like a glue. So it's easier to use a dry cloth to clean up first. Okay. It's looking pretty good. I guess it's going to take all my liquid. Usually it doesn't, but I must put more flour. I thought I did. Okay. It's looking very good. Now it's coming together. That's going to be beautiful. And once I set this in the fridge for my 20 minutes, half hour, I'm going to start peeling my apples and get them ready to go in here. Oh yeah, it's nice. Okay, I'm going to put this in the fridge now. Remember, put a damp cloth on top of it. A tea towel, a clean tea towel. I forgot to tell you one of the important ingredients is the very beginning, 2 teaspoons of salt. So don't forget to put that in. The dough is looking awesome. I'm going to divide it into 6 pieces because it will make 6 shells or 3 complete pies with top and bottom. Okay, I've divided my pie crust into 6 pieces because it will make 6 shells, but I'm making a larger apple pie. I'm actually making a 12-inch. I've rolled my pie crust onto my rolling pin. I'm just going to roll it across and let it drop in and adjust it where I need to adjust it. There we go. Pull it over a little bit. And this is actually a 12-inch pie plate. I make it in because I'm using one of my own pie plates to make it in. I don't know, can you see what I'm doing here? I hope so. Should have rolled it a little bit larger. So, I'm going to be putting my apples in there, and then I'm going to finish rolling these out, and I'm going to make a little bit larger of a pie cover to put on top of it. So I'm rolling on parchment paper because it's easier to clean up. Put some flour down. I found my rolling pin. Make sure you flour wrap your rolling pin. I'm going to use a little bit more than normal on the top. Because like I said, I'm making a 12-inch pie plate shell. So, there we go. I've rolled out a shell. I'm just pinching it off. So you're on the good side and cut it off. These are just going to go in the oven because I'm making lemon meringue pie later with the shells. So I'm just going to put them in the oven and cook them for about 14 minutes. Make sure you put some holes in the bottom of it, but not through the pie plate because you won't get a bubble then when you put it in the oven. Okay, I rolled out another pie shell. I'm just going to make sure it fits. Put it in my rolling pin. Roll it back up. Put tears, catch it. I don't know if you can see, but I wanted to show you up close, if I can, the lard, the bubbles. So, let's see if I can get a picture of it and show you. If you get a crack, fix it. Right in here, I don't know if you can see it or not, the white. But all that, when it gets hot, it's going to split in the oven, and that's what makes your pie crust flaky. Okay, I'm going to roll the top. I put flour down. Put flour down. I've got rid of my parchment paper because it's easier to roll one, but it's pretty hard when you're rolling 6 to keep holding it down. So once you kind of get an idea. And also, I forgot to tell you, when between each one when you're rolling it, keep that wet cloth on top of your pie crust so they don't dry out while you're rolling the other ones. Let's see if this is sticking really bad. If it is, put a little flour on it. Check this side. See if it's sticking. Roll it halfway. Put some flour under it. There we go. Because you want to be able to lift your pie crust up, and this is going to be the top to my apple pie. Okay. Roll it up and get it ready to go. Okay, I've got my apples in here. I want to show you they're not just thrown in, they're set in there because they will cook down, and you don't want to have a huge bubble of pie crust with nothing underneath of it. So I'm going to put a half a cup of sugar in here. So I'm using Granny Smith apples, and I like them a little bit tart. And I'm going to put easily a tablespoon of cinnamon. I love cinnamon. If you don't like cinnamon, don't put it in your pie. And all this is going to boil in here because you're going to get juice from the apples. And I'm going to put a little bit of flour on top so it helps to thicken up the juice in it. And the last thing I'm going to add in here is like a tablespoon or a teaspoon of butter. Just, it's gonna taste delicious. Now I've got my crust rolled. Roll it across. There we go. Now I'm going to pinch the sides because you want it sealed because it is going to boil. So I left the bottom and the top and I'm going to pinch it together. Then if you want to take this crust that I'm pinching, it's hanging, and make a little design, go ahead and make a little design. But before I put this in the oven, I'm going to cut some holes in the top of it because it is going to boil. And I'm going to put a little bit of an egg white, get it a nice golden brown, and just wipe a little bit of egg white on it. It's going to be beautiful. Okay. Here's my trusty little knife. Okay, I'm going to cut holes with my knife. Cut any design you want in it. That looks pretty nice. Put one on top. Like I said, it's going to boil. I'm going to take my egg white. I can't find my brush, so I'm improvising again. Take some egg white. Just wipe it nice on top, lightly. If you want to cut out a design and stick some apples with your leftover pie crust, go ahead and stick some apples on it. I'm going to trim the bottom of this off before I put it in the oven. And I'm going to put a little bit of sugar on top because it's going to make it a beautiful golden brown with the egg white. And a little bit of sugar, and it's just a pinch. I'm just putting a pinch. I'll show you, just trim this off. Show you, just trim it off. Now, if you want to roll that back up, you can, and make some kind of design with it if you want. There you go, my apple pie is ready to go in the oven. I'm going to check it in about 45 minutes to an hour at 325 degrees. Okay, my leftover pie dough, I'm going to freeze it in the freezer. You can take it out and use it whenever you want. Just thaw it out. I put it in a Ziploc bag. My pie's in the oven. I'm going to check it in about 1 hour to see how it's cooking. I put a tray under it just in case it drips. And my shells are out of the oven. I'll show you what the pie looks like when it's done. The pie's out of the oven. It was in there 1 hour and 15 minutes. Looks freaking delicious, but you can't cut it till it cools right off. You know the routine. If you enjoyed this, like me, share me. If you give it a try, post a picture. Let me know how it works out. Thank you.